Okay, I wanted to talk a little bit about the order of operations again, especially in the context of computers. We all use computers, which is something that we are definitely using in this class. Um, and one of the things that could be said about order of operations when you're doing it in handwriting is if you want to be super clear about everything, you just put parentheses in, and there's something about just like clarifying your writing by putting parentheses in. But it's also important to understand when you put an expression in that doesn't have parentheses around all of the groupings, you should be able to predict what a computer would do with it. And I mean, this is also part of the notion of the convention of notation, that you should be able to predict what another human being would do with it too, which is why we have a convention, which is an agreement about the order of operations. So, one of the things that I liked doing with this particular exercise is actually using the Google calculator. I don't know if you know that Google is a calculator. If you just go to google.com, by chance, Google is celebrating the 107th birthday of a mathematician who won a Nobel Prize for physics for his work in astronomy. Um, anyway, total aside. So in the Google search bar, I'm going to do that thing that we did before, which was 4 plus 4 minus 4 divided by 4. And by the way, I use the slash for divide. That is a common calculator notation for divide. And it gives two answers there which don't make any sense. But if I hit enter, I want you to notice a calculator pops up and Google spits out the answer of 7. And the thing that I really like about it is if you look here above the 7, it actually puts in parentheses and says, by the way, I treated this 4 divided by 4 as something that takes precedent over the addition and subtraction. So it specifies I did 4 plus 4 minus 1. And as we said before, like if you have just plus and minus, then it doesn't matter what order you're doing it in as long as you remember that the minus stays with the 1. So you'll always get 7 in that case. So that's something that I really enjoy about the Google Calculator. And so if we were to go down those other operations that I did in the previous video, you could actually see like 4 minus 2 times 5 plus 8, for example. And here, looking above that answer, you can see that the calculator first did the 5 plus 8, treated that as one entity, and then did the 2 times that and treated that as an entity before subtracting from 4. Okay, so we had 5 plus 8 is 13, and then 2 times 13 is 26, and then we had 4 minus 26 is negative 22. All of this is in the previous video. I'm curious, I haven't actually done this in preparation for this video, but I'm going to look and see if they put parentheses around this one. I think they probably won't. Yep, no parentheses, because Google assumes you know that you can do that addition and subtraction in any order you want in order to get 10. Okay. So something that's kind of interesting about this, I do like that if you put in any expression, it will kind of specify the order of operations. So if you do the 6 divided by 3 times 2, or I guess I did 2 times 3, then Google says the answer is 9 and gives you that by the way, I did the 6 divided by 2 first and then times 3. And so if you really meant to have 2 times 3 first and then you divide that into 6, then you need to specify by putting in those parentheses. Okay, and this is a really important thing anytime you're doing any calculations. You need to understand what the calculator is going to do first and make it do the thing that you want it to do. All right, so if you intend to do essentially 6 divided by 6 in this calculation, then you need to put in those parentheses. So here's another example, like suppose you were to do this 5 plus 2 times 8 all over 3 plus 4. And now that we understand that the fraction bar also means division, this is 5 plus 2 times 8, all divided by the quantity 3 plus 4. Now, this is also highlights another flaw with the use of the acronym PEMDAS. The parentheses are not the only way to group things together, and so we see that this fraction bar has a way of grouping, like this 5 plus 2 times 8 is all meant to be one entity, and the 3 plus 4 is meant to be one entity, and it's supposed to be that numerator divided by that denominator. Okay, so if you do this, this is 5 plus 2 times 8, that's 2 times 8 is 16. We do that before the addition, so 5 plus 16, that's 21, divided by 7 should be 3. Okay. Oh, and the result is given here, result 3. Now, in order to put that into Google, if you just put those operations in, if you just put 5 plus 2 times 8 divided by 3 plus 4, like that, then you will not get the number 3. And if you look at what operations it's doing the 2 times 8 first, and then taking that divided by 3, and then adding 4 and adding 5. So that is not the order you want to be doing it in. You want this 5 plus 2 times 8 to be one entity, and you want the 3 plus 4 to be one entity, and those divided. So you need to put in the parentheses in order to make that happen. So 5 plus 2 times 8 is one entity, 3 plus 4 is one entity. And you could question whether you need to put parentheses around the 2 times 8, but Google understands that you will do the multiplication before addition. So if I add those parentheses to put those groupings, then we get the answer of 3, and we see that Google is in fact still doing the 2 times 8 before the plus 5, and treating that whole thing as an entity, and then doing the 3 plus 4 as one entity, and basically doing the 21 divided by 7 is 3. So I have created a worksheet which includes some practice skills, and among those practice skills it does involve using the Google calculator and kind of practicing looking at these these calculations. Now I believe I should check this. I believe that in order to get these parentheses, you actually need to put that calculation into the Google bar and not into the calculator bar. Let me double check that. If I do 7, come on you. 7 plus 2 times 5. Yeah, so if I enter the expression directly into the calculator bar, then it won't put those parentheses in. The way to get those parentheses is to put everything into the Google bar calculator. Okay, then it shows me, by the way, I'm doing the 2 times 5 first.